We've been informed that this would spread the taxes about as evenly as you could because these same reliable sources say, and even have figures to back up their statements, that business actually pays from 27 to 37% of any sales tax that is imposed. We must all remember this, that we like good schools and we like good highways as we're dedicating here today. And we like good programs and welfare. All of these come from taxes, and the consumer ultimately is the one that finally pays most all of your taxes. But here again, it's subject to argument.
As I attempted to enter the vault with another member of the legislature, Mrs. Frances Farenthold from Corpus Christi, I was stopped by Commissioner Sadler, who denied me entrance. And I said, "Jerry, aren't you going to let us in?" And at that moment, he lunged at me with his hand and squeezed my throat very hard. And for how long, I don't know, but somebody in khaki uniform, which I believe to be one of Mr. Sadler's bodyguards, pushed me back. And then Mr. Sadler lunged at a newsman that was there, and all of this is on tape, and there were about 15 or 16 news people there that were witnesses to this.
What did you do?
Well, I didn't do anything. I just was being pushed back and choked at the same time, so I didn't do anything. And besides, I think it's beneath the dignity of a legislator to hit somebody that I believe is mentally ill.
No, we hadn't collected any dues as yet, but we're going to get us a charter, and it's in the making now to get this charter, and then we'll start signing them up and collecting dues then.
Why do you think it necessary to have this association? Can't the union alleviate these grievances?
Well, they hadn't did so in the last 6 years since the city has had this system. And that's what we want to have is more of better communications with the system. We're not against labor unions, and we're not against any ones that is. But what we want to do is have, as I said, more of an understanding with the management, and that they will recognize us and bargain with us for better benefits of all the employees here, including salaried personnel and all. We want to represent everybody.
Yes, sir. Century Life requested the State Board of Insurance to place the company into conservatorship, and in cooperation with the company, we're trying to help work its problems out, and they are by no means insurmountable.
Is it your experience in cases of this nature that sometimes you can return the company to a financial footing of security?
Well, very definitely. In fact, it is usually the case. If the company were in real bad shape, we'd have a judicial receivership. This is not the situation here. We do have some technical problems, and we're here to help them with the technical problems.
The plan would basically involve three basic areas on the island. At the south end of the island would be erected the Apollo landmark known as the Apollon. It would be a 264-foot monument with the 5 times size replica of the Columbia capsule at the top. Then the north end of the island will be developed into 13 acres on the north end of the island will be developed into 1890 San Francisco with cobblestone streets, gas lights, little boutiques, and shops. And then the third phase would be the retention of the main cell block of the 1850 fort upon which it was built originally.
Larry, where have you been?
I've been to
Well, have you been riding around all day?
yeah,
What time did the men turn you loose, and where were you then?
it turned along about 3 or 4 o'clock. I was down way back over by the bridge.
They turned you loose about 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon?
Now it's at night.
Where were you then, Larry, all this time?
Me and I was walking, coming up this way, and James stopped. He said, I want to ride. So he had passed the place where I wanted to go. So then he said, is it all right if I go with him out of town? I said, yeah.
Did the men threaten you with a knife? Were they holding it at your throat when they robbed your father?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the men before or since?
No.
These men and women teach in the Dallas Independent School District. Like most teachers, they care foremostly about their students. These teachers, of course, are of different races and ethnic backgrounds, and they teach in integrated schools. But giving each student the best is sometimes easier said than done. So this seminar here at Bishop College is aimed at talking out the problems that the mixing of races has created.
Dress, Chocolate Drop, Black Cloud, Uncle Tom, Mammy, Amy, Uncle, Darky, Boy, Girl, and our babies, Pickaninnies.
Nigger, Darky, and can I think of another? These would be the only ones. But if he referred to me as being colored, Negro, or black, I wouldn't feel badly at all. But charity begins at home. And if mother and daddy had this conception, you see, it wouldn't be hard for the teacher when the child got to school. If this had already been placed in the child, this feeling, you wouldn't have a problem.
I'll tell you one thing that I think that I know I have made some statements here real hurriedly like, and you jump on me and you jump on me, and I realize I'm wrong. But I'm not going to tell you I'm wrong. Because I know you have proved to me. So I think a lot of us are doing much better than we think we are on some of these. Now, this kid is not going to say, okay, I agree with you. But I think that we may not change his mind today, but we've given him food for thought. And I think we're doing better than what can we do?
This 3-week program for 50 teachers is being funded by the Health, Education, and Welfare Department. It's being held here at Bishop College, and the director is Dr. Joseph Howard.
Our approach to human relations is premised on this deep conviction that human beings all over the world, everywhere, are more alike than they are different.
How can this institute, which only reaches 50 teachers, really make any effect in an entire school system, say, that is, of course, integrated? But how can this affect the whole school system?
Well, we readily recognize that it won't affect the whole school system. 50 participants is just a drop in the bucket. But we feel that each one of these participants will have an opportunity to increase the usefulness of the Institute by being an emissary of the ideas that have been exposed during this period of time together.
Desegregation, says Dr. Howard, is one thing. That's the physical changing of people and facilities, and it comes easily. Integration, the changing of their attitudes, comes slowly. And that's the project at hand now here at Bishop College. This is Teal Salon for Channel 8 News.
Two leagues have discussed the possibilities that there would be a merger.
Do you expect a full merger of the two leagues sometime in the near future?
Well, it's hard to tell. We're not even close to a merger yet. The subject has been discussed, and I have to think that we're closer, not necessarily to a merger, but to a common draft, which seems to be the real problem in professional sports. When you have two teams bidding for the services of one player, it seems like the salary structure just seems to balloon and blossom and get completely out of hand.
Would the ABA clubs be forced to pay an indemnity?
Oh, I would think that it's a question that would have to be decided by the ABA trustees. The executive committees would have to get together and decide exactly what the ABA would be willing to do. I would have to think that that it's not over 50-50 the desire of the clubs for a merger to happen. I think that it's unanimous in both leagues that we should have a common draft. But as far as a complete merger, I don't necessarily think the ABA is that interested in having a merger. If we can get our shot at the players,
problem, great big problem.
Sir, the problem lies in the home in a lot of cases, because we can do so much in 8 hours, but what about the other hours not with us? If we can do enough for it to be carried over to the home, even if it isn't there, we have quite a bit.
And he spends 8 hours at school, 16 hours at home.
And as much as he
We're asking for all of the funds to be passed along from the legislature. As you know, the state allocates 69% of any pay raise, and the local district must furnish the remainder from local funds, and we are asking for the full utilization of the state share in our salary proposal.
How does your salary proposal for this year differ from the salary levels of the teachers of last year?
Well, if you're speaking in terms of the style of the proposal, It differs in that we are putting the accent on experience and on education for those people who are currently employed in the district, rather than placing all of the funds at the beginning salary.
In dollars and cents terms, what would your proposal for the beginning teacher with no experience, what salary level would she have, and how would that compare to a teacher with 4 or 5 years experience?
Well, in our proposal, this is one of the major elements in that the beginning teacher salary would start at around $6,200. Then the salary schedule moves up from there to around the 4th year. The salary would be about $7,440. And then the top of the BA or bachelor's degree scale would be $8,990.
We get most complaints about warranties, the inability of most consumers to read and understand what are on warranties. But we are getting compliance from industry, and we hope that before too many more months are over that we will have a new series of warranties that the public can understand. I feel that to prevent a continuing vicious circle of credit misunderstanding, overextension of credit, lack of knowledge in the marketplace, we have to embark on a massive program of consumer education across the nation.
A year ago today, was a normal routine day. Late in the afternoon, we got a call to Mutual Aid Kennedale at the Red Ball service station up on 287 just south of Kennedale. We rolled 2 pieces of our equipment immediately along with 9 men. Shortly after we arrived, there was an explosion that was deafening. We had just started to pull back just as the explosion occurred, and next thing I remember was seeing men everywhere scattered all over the field burning.
synthesizer puts together various components of sound into what we hope is a musical whole. In other words, it is an instrument to compose with. It puts sound together. The sound sources in this case are oscillators, which generate the sound, then the sounds are modified through this instrument. And amplitude modulation, which would be now we're getting close to what you want. Now I know you see this big box up here. I will see if I can make it operate today. It's been coming right along. This is operating automatically right now, Doug.
Considerable discussions going on in Dallas County about the efficiency of the current courts. Commissioner Jim Tyson has charged that many of the judges are simply lazy, have just not done their jobs, and have not processed as many cases as they might. From the viewpoint of the legislator who's concerned with creating additional courts to handle a load, do you feel that his charges have any basis in your own opinion?
Well, of course, I've been practicing law in Dallas County for 18 years now, and I think our courts work hard, just as all judges do throughout Texas. I think what we have to remember when we talk about our courts in Dallas is that in the last 2 or 3 years, we've had a number of our judges become ill and die, and that has contributed to the backlog. You'll remember 3 of our criminal district judges died within about a year of each other. The fact of the illness of our judges and the death of some of them is shown by the number of visiting judges that we've had to have every year in Dallas County. You can't really judge the productivity of a court like you do an assembly line. courts are there to administer justice, and statistics really are not the whole answer.